Hey, welcome to the channel. So today I just want to go through a couple of things, some just overall things that I would recommend getting, not just in an F-150 Lightning, but in any EV. If you're buying an EV of any kind, especially some that have certain features, these are the items that I would recommend, just bare minimum need to have. All right, let's talk about that stuff. Okay, so as you guys know, I recently bought an F-150 Lightning, a 2025. I've been driving Teslas for quite some years now, and there are certain items that I think are just necessary when driving an EV that I didn't always buy in my previous gasoline counterparts. Now, some of this is to do with just technology. Some of this is to do with how EVs just inherently can potentially use up more battery. So these are the things that I think are good. Many of these items cross over into the combustion engine world of today. If you're getting a newer combustion vehicle, a lot of these items probably still hold true for those as well. So first off, so this is one that I want to talk about that has to do less with EVs, but typically is very EV as well, because in EVs you typically have these large screens, right? So these large screens, just like your cell phone and like your iPad, if they get impacted, they can crack. The difference in these screens and your iPad and your cell phone is they typically have a lower volume that they're produced, which means repairing these screens is going to cost you more. You're going to have to go to a dealership or through service of some sort. It's not quite as easy just to replace this screen, and it won't be as cheap. So this is a $30, and I'm going to have links to any of this stuff just in case you want to know. I am not an affiliate of any kind, so these are things I bought. If I did not buy them, I will tell you. But this is a screen protector. This is this, I think Spigen is how you pronounce it. Anyways, it's the matte screen protector. You can see it's kind of got a matte shade to it. It's a little less glossy. But when you turn it on, it is, very bright, and you can see just no problem. You've also got your screen here in the front, but that one is behind glass, so you don't need anything for your instrument panel. But these large screens right here, you typically want to protect those. So that's one thing that I would recommend. This would be for combustion vehicles. I think the Expedition, for example, has this exact same screen, but many of your electric vehicles are going to come with a large screen of some sort. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to recommend, this one is very EV specific, but I would recommend it probably for gasoline cars as well. Windshield sunshade, essentially. These come in all kinds of shapes and sizes these days. This one is the type that I typically go with because you can just quickly fold it up and put it in the back seat back here, and store it there. If you don't store it there, you can typically store it underneath the seat. So that's typically how I will handle that. And what it does is two things, and you know this, but it's going to protect your dash from getting damaged in the sun. It's going to help keep your electronics, like your very large screens like this, from getting overheated in the direct sun. Again, that's very important for any vehicle, more so the EVs now with the larger screens. And then you're also going to have the electric vehicles often will, to keep the temperature down in the cabin, which can increase the energy usage of the battery. You will typically want to keep a sunscreen. It will keep it cooler inside. If Teslas, for example, have cabin overheat protection, so if you put a solar screen into the car and you use it on a regular basis, you'll use less air conditioner to keep the cool below the 100 degrees or whatever it is you have it set at. You can turn that feature off and let your car get hot just like any vehicle, but that is something that is pretty specific to Teslas. The Ford here does not do that, but I do still like to keep it cooler because when I go to start the car up, when I go to drive it, it's less air conditioner that I have to use to cool it down. Again, saving electricity. So either way, with an electric vehicle, you want to save. You learn to be a little bit more efficient. Because there is less power density in the battery than there is in a gallon of fuel. Typically want to save as much as you can, and that is one way of easily doing so, is reducing your air conditioner usage. In the summertime, the summertime is when that's going to be used. In the wintertime, actually having the sun open will help keep the cabin warmer. But again, then your sun is shining on your dash. So I typically use it summer and winter time. Maybe a little less often in the winter, but I still like the sun to not shine on my screen and my dash as much as possible to keep it protected. There's cleaners and stuff, but I don't particularly like to use those things. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to recommend for anyone who is buying any vehicle really, but also any electric vehicle such as the F-150, is going to be all-weather mats of some sort. So I've got these here from Last Fit. I've got an entire video on these, and they're ones that I recommend, but you know, these are something that I would recommend you getting in any car. All right, so let's talk about some of this other stuff that came with the vehicle and that I'd recommend getting if you don't have it already. So a lot of EVs these days do not come with spare tires. So I always recommend a tire repair kit of some sort, maybe some other stuff, and then you know, a patch kit as well. The next thing, you know, the Ford comes with a mobile connector, and it has 2 chargers in this. I actually have not even opened this up yet. All right, so taking this out of the bag, the way this works, this is a mobile charging connector, which means it can plug into pretty much any charger, and then it plugs into the vehicle. Teslas used to come with this, they're now extra. My truck came with one of these, but I think it did cost extra. It just was included in the dealer's stuff. It comes with an outlet to plug into your standard 110. This here essentially just switches out here, and then they also bring you the NEMA 1450. This is a chunky NEMA 1450, by the way. Very good quality, I'd say. Very nice terminals or plugs there. So, and then also with the Ford, at least, you get this little connector here that you can plug in your wall, so you can actually plug this straight into your garage or your house, either 110 or whatever, and you have somewhere to keep this off the ground. And that plugs into your car. So any mini EVs will come standard with those. This is 220 volts. It's probably like 11.6 kilowatts, so that you can support a lower voltage level 2 charging on your car at probably up to 30 amps is what I would guess this is, but I don't think it says here what the actual wattage is. It even says here, charging other EVs with your Ford F150, you just need an adapter there, and you can actually use this to charge other EVs. Alright, so some other things that I bought here are some cheap little things off of Amazon. These are basically luggage racks. You got one here that can kind of hold something. I got a toolbox in there. And just to kind of give your frunk a little bit of holding room. So you can easily just throw something under here, and it just keeps it from sliding around. These can actually, I think that one there can actually go on the back as well. And the next thing, the last thing I got was a bed mat from Ford. I'm gonna get the spray-in bed liner, of course, but the bed mat helps keep things from sliding around as bad. Even with a spray-in liner, it can slide around, and it can actually scratch some things up. And finally, the things that I would recommend getting here, mud flaps. I'd recommend this for any vehicles that don't come with them. I have a whole video on these as well. They just protect your paint a little bit better. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much everything that I would recommend. Obviously, there's things I'm still looking at, but nothing really else I really care to have. There's things such as wireless chargers that can go in your center console, organizers, and things like that. I'm good with the organizers that come with it. I don't have any issues. I don't like to put a lot of aftermarket things on my vehicles. I keep them pretty factory. But those are just some of the things that I recommend as kind of a bare minimum that I always get. That's always subjective. A couple of those things will help with EV driving. A couple of those things will help just with the protection of your vehicle. Those are kind of my two things, is efficiency and protection. The other thing that I would recommend that I don't have on the vehicle is going to be paint protection film across the front of the vehicle. These EVs, they typically don't have big grills, so that means they have more paint that is facing the road. I would recommend getting paint protection film on my 100,000 mile Model 3 that did a lot of interstate travel. It did a lot of protection for that for when I went and sold it. It still looked really new. So I put some videos of that. Other than that, those are just some short little things. Let me know what you guys think. If there's anything that I don't have that you really recommend, yes, put it in the comments, because I wouldn't mind looking at it. Like I said, I don't do a whole lot of research either on this stuff. These are just kind of the minimum things. Spray and bed liner, that's something I wasn't going to get, and I am going to actually end up getting because I find I do need it. Even with the bed mat, it's just not enough. So for how I'm going to use the truck. So yeah, if you like this video, like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.